I finally got my costume in. It came in this nice little plastic bag. Everything looks all folded up nice and neat. So let's go ahead and open it and pull it out. So first impressions right out of the bag, it does look really good. The color looks like it did on the website, which is nice. It is obviously very wrinkled. That's to be expected with store-bought costumes that are just shoved in a bag to be shipped, but it was at least folded up nicely. So now that I actually have it in hand, there are a couple of more things I am going to have to fix, such as all of these snaps. Every single one of them was kind of loosely sewn on, so I did have to resew all the snaps. Just kind of looking at how the construction is done, how the collar is put on, again, checking all the snaps. Looking at that zipper in the back, again, everything was very clean, very nicely put together. The only issue I had construction-wise with the entire costume was that the snaps were all loose and needed to be resewn. Another thing was that all of the raw edges were serged over, so they were finished, which was very nice. Continuing to unfold things, here's the cape and the belt. Again, looks like how it did on the website, just a little bit wrinkled and pretty much the same things. The snaps need to be resewn, but other than that, I didn't really have any issues with them. My only issue I had with the packaging is you'll see right there, the hook side of the Velcro stuck to the lining of the cape, which is a pretty cheap, thin polyester satin, and as you can see, it is snagging it and causing a whole bunch of runs. I was able to get most of them out just by kind of tugging at the fabric, but I do wish that had at least been Velcro to the loop side of it so that that didn't happen and didn't get stuck to the cape. So a little bit of a closer look at the belt here, specifically that buckle. I wasn't sure based on the images on the website if I would be able to reuse the belt based on if I would be able to get the belt buckle off. And as you can see here, I am not able to get the belt buckle off, so because of that I did have to remake the belt, which I was kind of on the fence of if I had to remake the belt or not, and having to remake the belt wasn't that big of a deal for me. A couple of loose threads. I think those are really the only loose threads I found on this entire costume, which was pretty nice. One last thing I want to point out before we get to trying this on is the tag does say that this outfit is made from cashmere and wool. I do not believe that at all. I did do a burn test on both of these fabrics and they both melted like polyester, but also just based on the appearance and feel, I would say that these are both polyester despite what the tag says. So a little bit of buyer beware there. So when trying this on, I did find two construction issues that I had. One was that this snap was sewn through both layers, so I couldn't get my arm through the sleeve. So this snap I did just cut off entirely, which is fine because I was planning on re-sewing the snaps anyway. And then the second construction issue was that cord that goes across the neck and holds the collar closed did not stay at all. I don't know if the knots were too small or the holes that the knots went through were too big or what, but it was also not tacked down in any way. So it did not stay, and I did actually end up having to pin it into place so that I could properly try this on, and I did end up replacing this entire cord at the end. Alright, so here is a straight out of the bag, no modifications try on of the jumpsuit. Again, the only thing I did do was pin that cord into place so that I could properly try it on, and when I did that I did find that the neck was way too tight and it was kind of choking me a little bit. Luckily with the modifications I end up doing, the neck fits much better and isn't choking me. And then the other thing I found was that the neck line comes down just a little too far. And the reason that happens, I think, is because on Breha's actual outfit, those layers are sewn together, whereas these ones aren't. So just tacking those layers together could fix it, and that is what I ended up doing on my replacement collar. So here is what the full jumpsuit looks like. It is a little bit long on me, so there I am just folding up the waistline because that is where I'm going to take it up. But other than that, not too many modifications that I want to do. Pretty happy with it. Here is the belt. Again, I do end up completely replacing this just because I couldn't get the belt buckle off cleanly without leaving some type of residue, and it does just Velcro on the back. This belt ended up fitting me pretty perfectly right out of the bag, and I just kept the same dimensions, or the same width, and just changed the height and the size of the belt buckle when I did remake it. So I did end up using this belt as an actual pattern. Here is the full outfit straight out of the bag, so I haven't done any ironing or modifications. Again, the only modifications was trimming that one snap and pinning the cord at the neck in place, and I am really happy with it. It looks very accurate to the website and not too many complaints. So what I'm going to be doing to this suit is bringing up the legs at the waist. That will fit all my fit issues with the jumpsuit. And then I am going to be completely replacing the belt and then adding interfacing to the cuffs just to give them a bit more stability, sewing the cape to the cuffs so I don't have to deal with folding them up every time I put it on, and then replacing the collar. I do end up just replacing the inner and outer darker layers and then keeping that middle layer and replacing those two layers with a more accurate looking fabric, and then replacing the cord and then ironing everything so that it looks really nice. So here are the three pieces. So these two I am going to replace. I'm debating if I want to replace this one or not, but I think for now I am going to try and keep it. So next I have to take these two pieces and transfer them onto my new fabric, which will be pretty easy to do. This front piece is on a fold, which is pretty convenient, and then the top is sewn together. So I do have the two replacement pieces for the collar sewn, and I did paint the one. This one has to be a hint of a lighter shade, so I am going to wait until I paint the other one and then add a little bit of a lighter shade to my paint, because I did mix up a little container of it. I did have to custom mix this paint. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to remake the belt just because I am pretty happy with how it is, but unfortunately I am going to have to just because I can't get this buckle off without leaving some type of residue on there. So I am going to remake it, and there are two small changes that I want to make to it. I want to make it slightly wider and then make this top piece a bit more curved. And I do have a bunch of this like teal micro suede. So I am going to have to change the color to match this better, but I think the texture of this fabric will also be a bit more accurate to the show. So it's not that big of a deal. I was kind of half expecting to have to remake the belt, and even though I was really hoping not to, it's gonna be okay. I have the collar mostly sewn back together and back onto the jumpsuit. I do still have a little bit more to do. I am sewing it by hand just because with these points in here, it's just easier to do that. And I'm not worried about it being structural or anything, because if one of these seams snap, I can easily resew it. But I'm pretty happy with how it is coming out and how it is looking. I think it is looking so much better and more accurate to the show. I will say I do wish that I did not put the interfacing in these two layers, just because with the paint on that outer layer, it did strengthen it and thicken it up enough that I really didn't need the interfacing. But oh well. I could potentially go in and take it out if I undo this seam right here, but I think I'm just going to leave it for now. I did try it on and it seems like it's going to be fine. But that is how it is looking, and I'm really happy with it. And then I also got the pieces for the belt cut out. So I did take the belt all apart, and I am going to reuse these Velcro pieces, and got all these pieces cut out and started sewing them together. So I do have to sew these pieces together, and then I can actually sew the side seams and put the Velcro back on. I do have to paint this like I did with the pieces for the collar so it matches a little bit better. It should be a bit closer to the tunic, kind of like in between these two shades. So it's not quite as light as this light shade, but it's also not as dark as the tunic. So here is the belt buckle so far. It is currently drying, and then I do still have to cut it out and paint the edges, but I'm pretty happy with how it came out. So I did draw out a paper template. The one that came on the belt was pretty good, but it was about 1/4 inch too small for my new belt, and it was missing some of the smaller details. And then I decided that I really did not want to try and cut all of these little details out. So what I did instead is I just took a pen and I kind of pressed into it. That's why this kind of looks a little messy, because it's from the pen tip. Here is the buckle all ready to go. I do still have to attach it, and for right now I'm just going to do a little bit of hot glue because I do still have to change the color of the belt fabric, and I really just don't want to do that right now. Right now I don't currently have the ability to dye fabric, and I really don't feel like changing this color with paint like I did for the collar. So for right now, I'm just going to leave this as is, and then later on when I can actually dye fabric again, I will just pop this belt buckle off because it is just going to be a little dollop of hot glue, and then I can re-dye this and then just attach this. But that is the last piece for now, and that is this outfit done. And here is the mostly complete outfit. I am really happy with this. I really love how it fits. I do, however, still have a couple of things that I need to do before I can fully call this outfit done. The first thing is I need to get the accurate colored shoes. I am just wearing these maroon ones, but I do need to get white ones to be more accurate. Again, dyeing the belt when I have the ability to do so. And I do think the belt buckle needs to move up just a little bit. And then I do need to get hair extensions. My hair's not quite long enough, and I just don't have a wig or anything with me right now to be able to do the full accurate style. And then the last thing I want to do is change the shoulders there. I don't mind the snaps, but they do kind of pull back a little bit and you can see them, so I think I might change them to some black hook and bars just so they blend in a little bit and it all looks a little nicer. But other than that, I am super happy with this outfit and I absolutely love how it came out. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful or useful or entertaining in any way. Please like and subscribe. I try to upload videos the first Thursday of every month, and I will see you next time. Bye!